Here it comes, just wag its tail and this male bulldog will eat your coin. Of course, given its current poor condition, this dog certainly can't do it. So in this episode we will follow the newly acclaimed Master Ayar's reservation to perfectly restore this bulldog piggy bank. After applying a bit of WD-40 to the mechanism, we will proceed to the overall cleaning process. Then, after removing this long fixing bolt and opening the body, we will see a simple yet interesting mechanical linkage system inside the dog. With the help of this mechanical system, the dog's action of eating coins becomes very realistic. It won't feed itself like the previous skeleton piggy bank, but rather, it will be like in reality where you place the coin on the dog's nose, and then it eats it, which is quite interesting to think about. This time, Ayaz has completed the entire disassembly process and can move on to the next step of the repair phase. The first step is rust removal. The rust removal method used here is the most cost-effective, adding salt to the electrolytic rust removal solution to enhance the ionic reaction. Connect the negative electrode to the rust removal tool, attach a piece of scrap iron to the positive electrode of the workpiece, and then apply direct current heat to begin the lengthy rust removal process. After waiting for 12 hours, the rust that has been chemically dissolved and physically stripped floats to the surface of the water. This state looks quite disgusting. However, despite the long duration, some rust remains. At this point, a grinder with a wire wheel is needed for a second round of rust removal. As for the internal parts that are difficult to handle, they will be cleaned with an electric grinder, and under the polishing of the wire wheel, the entire surface will regain its metallic luster. After dealing with all the rust, the next step is the alignment phase. The goal is to address the uneven edges of the joints and all the bumpy surfaces. And after the alignment and smoothing of the joint at the dog head part, the section of the bolt that has internal stress must be removed, manufacture and weld it onto him, successfully removing the residual parts and then weld a new section onto him. Preheating before welding can effectively reduce stress deformation and the occurrence of cold cracks. Once the welding is completed, the excess solder is ground off and holes are drilled, thus creating a new screw base. Besides this screw base, a piece of material is also missing from the dog's neck, which is the main reason why the dog's head was tilted at the beginning. Similarly, after welding some materials, the specific shape is sculpted through cutting, grinding and other methods. Note that there are track-like marks here, so when the dog eats the coin, its neck will also move backward accordingly, making the entire action appear very smooth and lifelike. As for the dog's nose part used to place coins, due to damage to the internal linkage, a slight modification is needed here. To better install this new dog nose tray, this way it fits perfectly, but the small hole on top still needs to be welded and filled. After fixing all the missing parts, it's time to move on to the overall surface grinding. This involves using an electric grinder to remove all the imperfections such as pits, rough casting marks, and other similar flaws from the surface. Next, the areas that do not require painting are covered with masking tape, and then we move on to the next step, the extinguishing phase. Here, after applying a layer of grey-white epoxy primer, a top coat of a golden brown colour, similar to the fur of a bulldog, is sprayed on. As for the areas that are not painted, they will be coated with a layer of bluing solution and anti-rust protective oil for protection. Additionally, the overall changes in the paint colour will be much more. In addition to black and gold and brown, red paint and gold chicken pen outlines need to be applied. At this point, the exterior paintwork is considered completely finished. As for the new dog's nose, it needs to be welded to the internal connecting rod. After welding, fixing and grinding to a neat finish requires coating with bluing solution and anti-rust protective oil. The next thing to handle is this dog's tail. It is also the power source for the entire internal lever system. Once it is neatly finished, its broken radius tail needs to be welded back on. Unlike the previous welding, here it is necessary to grind out the welding surface before proceeding with the welding. This approach provides a better welding contact surface. Similarly, this tail will also undergo cold bluing and oil protection as the final step. As for this base plate along with the side panels, they will be cleaned, polished and neatly arranged before being sprayed with black top coat. Additionally, this base plate is missing a cover, so Ayaz will need to make one. Due to the lack of equipment in the workshop, different size materials have to be stacked and welded together to create this specially shaped cover. After the stack welding is completed, the edges are trimmed and chamfered, followed by cold bluing treatment, and then this brand new cover is finished. When used, it fits perfectly like this. Finally, after handling the small parts like the spring bolts, all the components are ready, and we can proceed to the final assembly stage. The overall assembly is not difficult at all, you just need to just assemble each part one by one. The only way to describe it is with those 6 words, skillful craftsmanship. Actually, seeing this kind of internal mechanical structure, can everyone imagine how it actually works? Essentially, pulling the tail causes the dog's head to retract, which in turn drives the linkage of the jaw and nose, thereby pushing the coin from the nose into the mouth. Of course, the entire process is very quick and seamless. Now, by adding the eyes to the dog, this vintage Bulldog piggy bank is officially restored. Let's follow the camera to review the comparison of the styles before and after the restoration.